Kicking off episode 3, we're excited to welcome Patricia Yanez to the show. Patricia is currently the talent acquisition manager at Voi Technology, the go-to company for safe, sustainable, and reliable micro-mobility solutions across Europe. Before joining Voi in 2020, Patricia built a strong foundation in talent acquisition with roles at Imagine Consulting, Care Recruitment, and Fantasia. Today, she joins the Rec Hub CEO Harry Bigwood and Director of Brand Experience Ben Leeson to talk about the future of hiring, AI, communication, and the power of data.
Welcome back to another episode of Powered by People podcast. What's that called when there's lots of post or like alliteration? Welcome back. I'm joined by Patricia and Ben.
Hello, guys.
Hey. Guten Tag. So today we're going to get to know Patricia a little bit, and then we're going to dive into some topics around data, communication, particularly with what's the newest generation coming through? Not Gen Z, millennials, or
Alpha, isn't it?
Alpha.
Oh my God, we are now into those.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I literally have no idea. The new generation, all of them. And then we're going to get into some topics around AI and all some interesting stuff. So first and foremost, Patricia.
Yes.
These are just some very generic questions, so forgive me. If you could have dinner with somebody famous, who would it be?
Okay, bear in mind that I didn't have time to prepare these ones and avoid being cheesy. The ones that know me will probably laugh now, but I'm gonna think about the first person that I
Came to mind.
like. Yeah, exactly. So Roger Federer.
Interesting.
Nice. Big tennis fan?
Yes, I am. Since I was a kid, that's coming from my family, and who doesn't love Roger Federer?
I mean, he's probably like the most loved sportsman ever, right?
Exactly.
Just such a hero in every aspect.
Exactly.
Like inside the sport, outside the sport. Yeah.
And that's why he's the GOAT. No
He's
matter
the
what
GOAT.
anyone else
He's
says.
the
I
GOAT.
mean, because it's not just numbers, it's also outside.
Attitude, humbleness.
Exactly. There you go. You're
He's
on
a
my
legend.
side then.
He's a legend.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
not tell my mom because she likes Nadal. So.
But, what's your hidden talent?
Damn it, why I didn't get some time to prepare these things?
No.
Hidden talent. I don't think it's that hidden. I'm black belt in Taekwondo.
What?
I'm black belt. in
Black belt Taekwondo?
Yeah.
That's not hidden talent. That is just like dangerous.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That's like
I
don't
mean-
fuck with Patricia.
It's not like a quirky, funny, interesting thing. It's just, well, I don't know. I got it when I was younger.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, well done.
Do you still practice Taekwondo?
Well, like my boyfriend back. No, I'm joking. I haven't really practiced in a while. I think I haven't really done that much sports since I started working.
Yeah, me neither. I started working young. Ben, do you have any hidden talents?
No.
No, zero.
What you see is what you get, mate. The
Believe
lack
it-
of talent is as visible as it is hidden.
Believe it or not, I used to be a gymnast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've gained a few extra pounds since then, but
Do you a clip of you walking on your hands?
yeah,
That's
I was in the national. So. What's one misconception about I was going to say your, but it's our industry.
Oh, that we don't care about people and we just want to close a deal.
Yeah, it's very true. I know some people that vibe with that opinion, but on the whole, we actually care about the people we're putting into jobs, right?
Yes, we do.
And that wasn't convincing.
No, I mean, but you know that famous meme online that is what people think recruiters are, and then you have these cowboys, and then like you have all these sort of things. I mean, you have to be a salesperson. You have to focus on the deal, even if you're internal.
You're selling the company, right?
Exactly.
What's one thing you're passionate about outside of work? So it would have been Taekwondo, but you just told us you don't do it anymore. So
You can't have Roger Federer for two answers.
No, so I mean, this is gonna be funny, but wine.
yes.
Yeah.
Red, white, or rosé?
No, I'm a red wine
yeah.
person. But I recently did this course with my partner about
Oh, so
wine.
it's not
studies.
just drinking it.
No, I mean, well, we drink it while we study.
Yeah. That's
so
fine.
we don't feel that bad.
Yeah, good. Good. And what's your favourite wine for any other wine drinkers out there?
Santemilio.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a region, but there is no doubt my first choice.
Fair. I'm cheaper than that. I'm just like a barefoot Merlot kind of guy.
We studied that one.
7 bottles a night. What are you currently learning or trying to improve professionally?
AI, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel I'm on that generation now of like, oh, let's just ask the younger member of the team. I'm sure they know how to work this on the computer. And I don't want to be that person.
Yeah,
I mean, I've already feel old as it is, so it's like, I don't want to keep asking.
Fair enough.
That's a good answer.
What are you developing professionally, Ben?
Trying to do a lot more about understanding the concepts and constructs of design at the moment. So
That sounds complicated.
yeah, it is a little bit, but there's some amazing books from like the Ogilvy agency and stuff around how ads and advertising is constructed, and how you then, what you as a person, what you get from those ads, and how you kind of take on the information that's included in those ads. So yeah, from a branding point of view, how to construct something properly so it lands with your audience as it's intended to land.
As it's intended to.
That sounds way more interesting than mine.
I don't know anything about AI apart from ChatGPT, so that's, yeah, you're way ahead of me in that sense.
Well, someone had to teach me that one, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that sounds very interesting.
Maybe we'll do another session on that.
On that,
Yeah.
don't expect me to be in that one. All right, cool. So we're going to move on to data. That's Patricia, everyone. Round of applause. So we're moving on to data. First and foremost, you talked about data since joining Voi.
Yes.
And how you sort of transitioned Voi into more of a data-driven organisation. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, so of course I joined Voi when we were still like a proper startup. I joined.
You're more of a scale-up now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I joined when there was no mission. I mean, well, there was no values yet. No onboarding. Someone went to buy a laptop at Apple my first morning.
Yeah.
So proper startup style. And I remember we used to have this massive spreadsheet that I hated with all my heart, especially
as an ATS.
Yeah, I mean, well, no, we did have a Team Taylor already,
Okay.
but for our own like tracker.
Okay, yeah.
And when you have like 300 positions, you're really not updating every single line.
So that was sort of your workforce plan, was just a big spreadsheet.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, there was no really forecast as such. It was
Yeah.
just like whatever the team needed.
Just higher loads.
Yes, exactly. So half of the thing was not updated. There was always someone mixing a formula. So yeah, it was horrible. But then we transitioned into another system called Airtable. I don't know if you know that one.
No,
It's like a
I've not used it, I've heard of it.
low coding platform. I mean, it's like a fancy Excel, to be
Okay.
fair. And we didn't look back. I mean, it was mind-blowing change from this horrible sheet. It has been a living product, to be fair, because we started in 2022, and half of the data obviously was not migrated properly.
Yeah.
So we were still not able to use the data as such, but we started to build dashboards and again adding formulas and
Yeah.
adding things. And now this year we were able to finally build a strategy according to the data
Perfect.
on like how many roles we hire, how many roles were sort of on the forecast from the operations team, what was on budget, what was last minute, what was replacements. I mean, we didn't have access to anything before.
Fair enough. I think it's really difficult when you're a startup business because even the data you are collecting has no real value until you've collected enough of it, right? Even if you've got the right, even if you've got Airtable. I think we used Notion, didn't we, earlier on?
Mm-hmm.
Have you used Notion?
No, I haven't heard that one.
No, it's pretty cool. It's just, how would you even describe Notion? It's like anything for everything.
Yeah, I mean, the rec hub, we used it as our intranet really. So everything was on there.
Yeah, you can
house data
build-
in it. You can can build. It's kind of tailorable to build what you want. It's
Yeah, like you can build Kanbans, you can build an ATS, you can build content calendars, and you can also just have random documents. It could be your careers page. It's just lots of different intranet kind of things. But even if you've got something like that you can house the data in, you need to build that data over a certain time frame in order to be able to extract any insights or create any actions moving forward, right?
Exactly. So that's what this year we're able to do, because now we have 2023, which is a full year.
Yeah.
I mean, 22, it was a bit bumpy, right? But so now you can actually go and compare, well, what do we do on the 23 now for 24? Where is the forecast? I mean, plus, plus or minus 50% of growth. But still, it's really interesting to see, time to fill, time to recruit. It's just a simple, sounds so simple, but we didn't have that before.
Yeah.
And Team Taylor, even though it's great, is not the best one for data in that sense. They're probably going to hate me now, but...
so we don't get any funding from Team Taylor anytime soon.
No, but the thing is that we realized that we could not really count the hires, because we will hire 3 people
for an ATS.
on one role, and we will not have added in it was just like, oh, okay, well, it's too messy.
What do you use now?
Taylor.
Oh, still.
They have improved, yes.
Okay, good.
No, they are getting there. But it's also a startup from Sweden.
Yeah. How many people are Voi now?
Sorry?
How many people are Voi as a whole?
At the moment we are around 1,000.
Wow.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Well, I joined when we were around 400. So obviously, you still have attrition and everything. But yeah, it has been between 9 to 1,200.
Wow.
What do you...
I was going to say, horrible spreadsheets aside, is there an element of you that misses that real startup kind of mentality and the energy and the excitement that's around a startup business?
I mean, very maturely, I do miss the merch. We have had a merch for everything. Like,
Rosie, let's get a Rec Up hoodie on all up from Patricia, please.
And people listening will probably agree that, yeah, she loves merch. But, no, I mean...
Every call we've ever had, you've got to voice something on.
Yeah, you see?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if I'm working from home, at least I don't look like that scrappy with a random hoodie. But, in the sofa, no. But, no, I mean, it was all... And we still have it. That's the reason why I'm still there. I mean, that attitude. But it was that excitement that we had no clue of anything, and we just were figuring out as we were going. Like, I was lucky enough to be part of amazing projects. Like, I joined, and my title was like expansion markets, something random. So I was able to build the teams in different, I mean, as I was saying, expansion markets. Yep. So I was just saying, okay, well, here you go, we're opening in Spain.
What was the toughest market to hire for?
I don't think, no, I mean, I love Spain because it was a challenge. It was my first one. I had no clue what I was hiring for. And there was a challenge because the company had been in Spain before, and they left. So as soon as you will approach someone, the first thing that will appear on their search will be like, Voi left Spain. And they'll be like, oh,
okay.
hold on, what's going on? And so it was that, like, yes, but we're back.
So they didn't really have confidence in the brand. Maybe.
Exactly. So it was a new sector, new positions, everything new, and just trying to justify why the company needed to be trusted by these people.
Yeah, fair enough.
So it was a really interesting challenge, and also it was COVID, so we also were involved in the onboarding, and so sending hardware to people's houses. Because
so you were hiring and onboarding?
Yeah, well, I mean, startup style,
yeah.
trying to
Multiple
order laptops online from Amazon, like, oh, the right keyword, we're Spain, of course you had to send them a Spanish laptop, not a Swedish one.
Yeah.
So trying to figure out contracts, that was also, again, DA is involved in HR, but not to that level. So we had to just draft contracts. Of course, we had consultancy. And this is where my languages were helpful, because I was just hiring in all these countries where we didn't have any support.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the Italian market was great. I think the Belgian one was challenging because of the legal side.
Okay.
Honestly, like, people should move to Belgium. I mean, to work. the amount of benefits and
like
and
employers'
protection that you
rights
get
and workers' rights.
is ridiculous.
Really, yeah.
It's just borderline ridiculous.
You don't have that problem in the UK.
No, no, not at all. UK is so simple. I mean, but
not quite as good as America, where you can just be let go with no notice. But
yeah, yeah, no, but definitely, I think every country has had their own challenges and particularities. So yeah.
Interesting. What do you think the biggest difference you've seen going from sort of 300-400 to over 1,000 in like how you're from your perspective in the business?
I mean, like I said, it's even though I still love the atmosphere and how we are, you get more structure. Which I mean, of course, coming from a very, let's say, scrappy style, it's hard to get used to sometimes. We're like, oh, now we have to do this, or now we have to organize these policies in the nice place for everyone to see. Yeah. So if you're coming from all over the place and you're starting to organize yourself, it's a bit that change of, okay, actually no, I also need to follow the process. So I need to show the team that I am also following the new process now. Because
you're it's ingrained in you to work in just the ad hoc way.
Exactly. So it's that change of, okay, hold on, now we're really more serious. Now we have to be more...
now you have budgets.
More mature. Yeah, now you have a budget. So yeah, maturing in that sense is like, oh, but we were just running like there was no tomorrow. So now I had to sit down and drop something. So yeah, but I think that's also part of the process. I mean, it's great that the company is still here, is growing, we're getting there. So yes, it's good.
Good. The e-mobility sector, we work with some companies in that space, and it's an exciting space. Still, I think we were just talking earlier, there's like a huge boom of all of these e-mobility companies sort of coming up, and now it's the real businesses are sort of the only ones standing, and it's good to see that Voi are there and still growing. It's exciting.
Yes, I mean, you see the news and like, oh, another operator is closing down or has been acquired, which is great for the sector because I think it's also getting organized.
Yeah.
There are more legislations being passed, people accepting more the scooters, the e-bikes and things like this. So you can see definitely that the sector is getting there. There is still a long way to go, but yeah, I mean, and it's also really exciting that Voi is part of that.
It's definitely become more acceptable, hasn't it? Like it was weird, a few years ago where I remember Berlin. We used to go to Berlin quite a lot, and the scooters were everywhere. And in London there was none. I think Lime had a couple of bikes, and now they're everywhere. And I think it's such a better way of getting around.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, depending on the countries, but for example, Spain has the infrastructure already in the cities.
Oh, great!
It's easier to just put it there. I mean, you have the space. People feel secure that okay, I'm not gonna be crushed by the car next to me. Which is obviously something that some countries need to keep working on. But
I feel like Italy would be a challenge.
Yeah, and around London, I'm more than happy to jump on an e-bike or an e-scooter in Berlin, but being on the roads of London petrifies.
Black cab drivers have zero mercy. No mercy.
Well, that is a very good example, but that's also something that the cities need to improve. Which is, I mean, it's obviously a partner for us. We want to make sure that we're making cities made for living.
Yeah, we used to go to Berlin and get cabs around, and then we decided let's start using bikes or scooters, and then you actually get to see the city and experience the cities.
It's much nicer way of travelling,
and it's cheaper, and actually it was quicker because cabs are typically just stuck in traffic most of the time when you're in a city. So it was like tick tick tick.
I think the thing you've touched on there, which is about kind of educating and helping the infrastructure of the city as well as just putting wheels on streets. That's probably one of the most important things, particularly in London. Obviously, Boris bikes have been around for ages, right?
Yeah.
That was probably one of the first.
What were they? Barclays originally, weren't they?
Yeah.
Boris bikes.
E-mobility, but it was quite restrictive where you put them back and you couldn't just leave them. It had to go back in a charger.
My friend ended up drunk with one in his living room once.
Yes,
probably had a healthy
fine for that. But
I did have a friend also getting drunk with that.
The infrastructure wasn't, the roads weren't, and they're still not. They're not suited to this kind of stuff, right? Especially people that aren't that comfortable, or if you don't ride a bike every day, or you don't get on a scooter every day,
they can be quite intimidating.
And being on the roads as well, that's a real concern, right?
Yes, and I mean, to be fair, I'm not riding them every single day, so I feel like also I might be danger for some people if I'm not feeling comfortable.
Yeah, that's true. If you're a little bit nervous as well.
Like when you just start driving, if you are hesitant, you're actually the one causing accidents.
Exactly.
But then it's something that we're working a lot with the cities. I mean, not just London, but I mean, you mentioned Italy. Italy for us
tiny
is
streets, such small streets.
It is true. Ironically, I mean, it is a strong market. But yes, I mean, you see that, you know, especially the consumers are really interested in and want to have this in bigger zones. I mean, we just expand Marseille, and it went from like small area to like double.
Really?
Yeah, so it's great. I mean, it's one of our, you know, like best markets, and it's really great to see how the acceptance from the cities, from the users, everything, it's just improving.
Is there a collaboration between operators working with the cities, or is it like you have your independent, you have your own kind of person working with, you know, Transport for London, for example, and then the other operators will have their own people independently working, or is there like a union, if you like, of sorts?
Well, not exactly a union, but yeah, we do talk to each other, and we do try to go for the same, I don't know.
Because it benefits all people, doesn't it?
Yes.
By getting the cities on board with this stuff and having the right infrastructure, it's going to benefit everybody.
Exactly. So in some countries, it has happened that we advocate for the same. I don't know, like let's go for a tender, or let's go for X amount of scooters. In some other cases, maybe yes, you are competing for the same market, but at the same time, we aim for, like I said before, I mean, the city is made for living. So maybe it's not going to be this city, but for the next one, I mean, you already work on something with this legislation, so the next one is going to be beneficial for us.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Some countries actually want operators to work together.
Yeah.
So it depends. It's very different from country to country, even cities. I mean,
I think it's a really exciting space, and like there's so much more area for development in that space.
Yeah.
It's so new still. It's a little bit like you know, we're a way away from it yet, but automated taxis. You know, like that's another thing where collectively the operators potentially would benefit from lobbying governments and cities collectively, you know?
yeah.
So, there you go. So we're going to move on to communication. Couple of things that I'm thinking of in terms of communication. Firstly, like how we communicate with younger generations. I feel like it's been a real common topic for lots of people in business across industry. And then secondly, like just your experience from how communication changed in the business from going startup to scale up and maybe even more corporate. We touched on that a little bit with like, you know, having policies and procedures in place where there weren't any before, and we've sort of talked about this in a few instances. I think we talked about it with Get Your Guide and you know, going from and how like company-wide communication changed and how it got more serious and more formal. But yeah, what's your experience with that?
Yes, I mean, going from a startup to scale up where we are now, yeah, the communication changed, the approach changed. There are challenges, especially with the younger generations. Even though I will still say we're very young, there are still some other ones that are younger than us. But
probably only marginally.
Yeah, just a little bit, but that makes a difference.
Yeah,
but,
marginally from us, not for them.
But like for example, our speech actually changed because we were a startup. We were like so ambitious. Like yes, it's a fast pace. You're gonna learn a lot. And back then it was promotion after promotion. And then it gets to a point that like no, hold on. We have levels. You cannot just randomly create a new job title. You cannot promote someone after 6 months. Now we have a rule. And then you end up with the a lot of employees that are aiming for that because that's what was promised when you were hiring. So now we twisted that. It's like, well, it's not that style of startup anymore. So they had to be a bit more aware that you're not gonna be able to get promoted after 12 months. I mean, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And also, well, I already know that there is no more titles after this one. I mean, so again, realistically, you might go for the head of, but maybe you go into something lateral. Yeah. So you have to manage expectations a lot more, and especially with the new generations. With again, I think it's great on them. I feel like maybe, you know, what would have happened if we were a bit more like that, but that demanding, or maybe sometimes people will say entitlement. Yeah, I mean, without sounding aggressive, but yes, I mean, they are way more than older generations, and you feel like, I mean, how is this person, I mean, talking to the manager like this, or demanding during the review, the performance review, like changing the rating, like, no, we didn't do those things before. Yeah. And now they're doing it, which, I mean, kudos, because that's great, it's their career. But then at the same time, is what will happen if this person goes into another sector that is going to be more conservative? I mean, we're talking about startups and e-mobility.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you go into, I don't know, like all banking, pharma, where it's so
that's not going to fly, is it?
And I'm thinking, I don't think this conversation will end up in the same way.
And the question then is, do we think that they're emotionally intelligent enough to be flexible with their own style and communication, i.e., they're just really clever and they know in this environment I can be more entitled and I can get away with more, and then they move into the banking sector and they understand how that's going to work and they try and work the system in that sense, or is that just how they are and they expect the banking system to change to them, if that makes sense, you know?
Well, I would really hope that they can change. Otherwise, that is going to be a very hard wake-up call, to be fair. But some of them, I mean, at least from the ones I can think of in my experience, some of them I can see them transitioning in a normal way. Some other ones will have to really adjust and maybe have I don't know, receive those harsh feedbacks of well, who do you think you are, or this is not how we do things here. But I mean, I guess time will tell what happened with these new generations.
I feel like there has to be a meeting in the middle a little bit. I think that you're totally right. The Gen A, Gen Alpha, Gen Z, whatever term we're on.
All those letters.
There is a. It feels like there's a much more confident approach to life, right? You can call it entitlement, or you can say it's more confident, and they potentially understand their value or their worth a little bit more. But then I think when that jars with these big traditional antiquated industries, finance, law, there is obviously a bit of a clash. But then I think from an industry point of view, even these big, huge businesses are becoming slightly more, startup focus is definitely the wrong word, but slightly more flexible in terms of their approach, right? To look at their employer brand and to be an attractive employer. I think there's going to become that kind of middle point where there's obviously going to be the kind of industries that are super, you need a Ivy League degree or you need to come through Oxford or whatever, like that's always going to be there. But I do think in the main, we're seeing, particularly in kind of the bigger enterprise clients that we work with, they are becoming slightly more flexible in their approach, I think
they have to, right? Like, when the business needs, you know, workforce to grow and develop and innovate and continue exploring new boundaries, well, then you're going to have to become a little bit more attractive to a generation that maybe doesn't quite vibe with how you operate right now, and so you're going to have to adjust. There'll be some core things that just simply stay and remain as a consistent foundation, but then there'll be things that will be able to be more flexible. I think that we're definitely going to see that transition. We're moving with the generation that we know as the older generation. You know, they'll die and then other people will come through, and then everyone dies, and then what you got, you know, then the people that are the younger generation are in charge. So there has to be some flexibility.
There will be the old ones, and then the new ones will, God knows what they will do. But I do agree. It's like when COVID happened and everyone went to work from home. Like in my previous company, that was not an option. It was like there is absolutely no way that the team will work from home. Even though everyone had a laptop that you can just literally unplug and leave.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what we did when COVID happened. There was an announcement, everyone grabbed the laptop and left.
It was fine for you to work from home outside of hours.
Well, yeah, but it was just like, well, so clearly there was nothing major to do to allow people to work from home. And then everyone just continued working. And now it's unthinkable for a company to say, yes, you have to be in the office for 5 days.
Yeah.
I mean, so things will force change.
Some people have definitely gone back towards a more hybrid way of working, right? I think that the suits and ties in the office 5 days a week is a thing of the past.
I mean, yeah, I remember back in the days that you will be formal, and then I see my clothes and you're like, I was wearing that when I was in my 20s. And it's just like, no, I mean, everything has changed.
I once went to the office and had to go to Tesco and buy a razor because I hadn't had a shave that morning.
Oh my god, you were in one of those companies.
Yeah, I was one of those companies, and I did a terrible job of shaving.
I mean, arguably, you probably would have just looked better, more professional before, right?
Yeah, because I was going to a client meeting and my director.
Yeah, what if you
I'd literally like sticks of tissue everywhere.
Exactly.
I've got a little big razor. It was.
But that's that perceived notion that formality breeds professionalism, and it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Like, personal experience, producer Rosie, last place that we worked together, despite being in a brand marketing role, you're in a uniform, weren't you?
Unfortunately, yes. Insert photo. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Really horrible.
As Joe Rogan says, Rosie, bring it up.
Yeah, but again, it was this perception that no, that looks more professional. People will respond better to that when. I don't think it was the case.
I get uniform in schools because then it removes, everyone's the same, right? And everyone is equal. There's no like fashion.
No comparisons.
And whether you're wealthy or poor or anything in between, it's irrelevant. You wear your school uniform, and you've got like a level playing field to sort of work from in terms of building on your education. But after that, I don't see like. Me having a shave is going to be more professional.
No.
Or wearing a tie that's too tight or something, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
No,
there you go.
Again, it depends on the sectors. Finance, and it has been like that since forever. So I don't know how it is at the moment. I mean, the last time I worked there, it was still suit and tie, and people will have 2-3 extra suits in the office just in case.
Yeah.
Getting casual Friday was a challenge that I managed to get, and then like someone came and you're like, why are you wearing that? We're touch and go.
That was me. That was always me.
And
I look like a tramp that's just been picked up off the side of the road.
Honestly, I mean, and you look at the MD almost having a heart attack, and you're like, we just implemented this. Like, can we keep it for a bit? And then COVID happened, and then that was it. I mean,
anything goes out. That's it.
Yeah, that was it. But yeah.
Back to communication. Do you have a particular bugbear? Whether it's like company communication or the new generation of communication. I have lots.
I don't know. What do you mean a bugbear? Like something that.
Something that just that sort of happens more commonly that you sort of get that frustrates you to some degree.
I mean, a couple of things I can think of, but I mean, like just something generalizing, which I mean, it's not bad to be fair. I mean, like I do think it's good, but the constant, asking for feedback.
Yeah.
That I mean, again, it's good on their side, but sometimes it's just like, oh, I just wanted to move on to my next thing, and and they're asking for the feedback, and they even like have formal meetings, which again they will use back to you when there are performance reviews. But it's a constant necessity of being. It's not rewarded, but it's just like acknowledged, like, oh, you did a great job.
Yeah,
and you did a great job.
Affirmation.
Exactly, that's the word, affirmation. And I see them doing it backwards. I mean, not backwards, but back to, let's say, more senior people. And you actually feel, am I the only one that feels that sounds fake?
Yeah.
You're like, great, you did a great job. And you're like, okay. And then you talk to other colleagues, and you feel like, oh, okay, well, so it's not just me. But that's a different on the generations.
For sure.
Like, great, and it's just too much sometimes.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes you feel like, am I the bitter person here. But like, I just want to move on and go to the next project. And I had too many things to do to always be thinking about that one. But yeah, that one comes to my mind right now.
Do you have any communication bugbears, Ben?
No, similar to Patricia, actually. I think one thing that always gets me is the constant need for everything to be backed up with an email. Like, whatever happened to just being able to have a chat and then that's it. Whatever you talked about is going to get done and get implemented without having to detail everything in an email. Like, how many times you hear, yeah, that's great, just send me an email. I've just told you. Why do you need me to repeat myself?
That's people like me, that is.
Yeah, that is probably
because the moment I've turned around, I've forgotten exactly what we're talking about.
And I get the need, obviously, for paper trails and stuff like that, but quite often just a good conversation about what needs to be done, and then, to your point, you just want to crack on and do it, and then get on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Mine's is constantly having to, like, duplicate every piece of information on an email and vocally.
That's a good point. I mean, I guess in my company we don't really have the necessity of having everything on emails, but there is always notes and action points, and like they will even tag you, and you're like, oh wow, okay, I'm on the spot here, and you actually feel like, well, I was gonna do it. I mean, you don't need to do a homework list for me, but it's like, again, that's also, I'm coming from a very Latin background, so that also makes me think maybe it's just culture, maybe we're just different styles, and I just find like, yeah, fine, put me on the list.
I assume you use Slack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we Slack a lot.
Slack is a bit of a bugbear for me. I love it because we're a remote first business. You could not operate without something like Slack or Teams or whatever. But everything always gets lost in Slack. Someone will send you a message in a group chat, in a channel, and then assume that you've read it, and you have a day off or an hour off, and you're 75 messages behind already. So I'm Ben's bugbear basically. I'm like, if it's important, send it on email, because Slack just gets lost. Yeah, like if you're in a channel with like 30 people, or a channel with 10 or 5 is too many, and there's conversation about a particular topic, and then you're tagged, that could get lost.
For me,
and I'm expected to
check.
To check it,
yeah. I mean, do it for like, I check. I'm one of those that will check everything, and even on emails. But at the same time, I do get frustrated when people start on the chat and they don't do a thread. So then they continue the conversation, and then you're like, I also want to ask something else to someone, but it's gonna look messy now, and so I do one thread.
Just nailed my that's my anti-bugbear. Just fucking use a thread. Anyone on Slack.
Yes, exactly. Use
keep everything organised. It's there. I can see the conversation. Because some people will use the thread and then others in the same conversation won't. And now we're just all over the place.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It doesn't irritate me that much.
Sometimes I feel like it's a bit passive aggressive. Sometimes when you're on the thread and you also send it to the chat. And you tick the box.
Yeah.
And you're like, I did it recently because it was just too much. But I always feel like are we, like making a point? Am I putting this so everyone can say that I was tagging someone because they didn't do something?
Yeah, literally. Yeah. One of the other things on Slack, which is sort of digital communication as a whole, is that we're so more like, our first port of call is digital communication. Like, rather than just on Slack huddling someone or just picking up the phone and ringing somebody, your first port of call is to send them a message, and then get frustrated when they don't get back to you in 17 seconds. But then also, one of the reasons why I think ring first is because there's no way you can really understand how somebody's meaning to say something.
Oh yes.
Like, you don't get. I think it's something like, this is a classic punty statement, but it's like 70% or maybe more, like 90% of language is
body language.
Body language, delivery, tonality, and like 10% is actually what you're saying. So whenever you're
what you said, it's how you said it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, you can say that you want to kill me, but in a nice way.
Exactly.
But that's why people use emojis, and then you end up finding the emoji a bit patronizing.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And you're like, Is it me? Is it you? I mean, like, no.
I can't work out the, you know, like the 3 easy emojis on Slack. Like when you hover over something, you've got the quick emojis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't work out to change them, so I just do prayer hands to everything. Like, I mean a thumbs up, but I can't work out to change it, so I just prayer hands everything.
For example, the way I see thumbs up is like, oh, fine, whatever. So I use the one that like 2 hands up.
Yeah,
yeah. And even the happy face. Sometimes people put 3 in the same answer, and you're like, I'm pretty sure this is not a happy face. This is just someone telling me like, just fucking and do it. I mean, like.
Yeah. The one thing is when you're like, I do this all the time. I do this, and I hate it being done to me. Is when you ask a question, and then people just respond with an emoji rather than I get that, or yeah, we'll get on that, or we'll do that, or yeah, we'll get back to you on that. They're just
because you don't get.
What the fuck does that mean? What's that? You fucking do that all the time.
It's that, yeah, got understood.
Yeah, but you don't get notification for those. You get it on the activity side.
Yeah.
But I don't get like something, so I had to go back and see if you responded. And you're like, I had too many things to do to be checking if someone had done the thumbs up.
Product updates needed for Slack, I think.
Yeah, they do need a notification.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Hey. How can a recruitment leader best use, in your opinion, generative AI?
I would say with caution, in a way. The thing is that everyone is using it. But I feel like either you use it in the wrong way, that is so obvious that it's not you.
Yeah.
So what I will, and I think I had these conversations in the past with teams that, I mean, use it with moderation. At least at this point in time, because there's still mistakes, or it doesn't sound like you, or maybe the information is not 100% accurate. So I will say, yeah, use it with caution and for things that will make your life more efficient.
Yeah.
But
job specs.
Yes.
Writing job specs, like the bane of any recruiter's life. If you can just have, and
we ask the hiring managers to give us a first draft.
yeah, and then you have to completely change it. I find job specs like, I think they're generally written badly. I think we write them in a way that they were having written for years, but need sort of a bit of AI to like.
Yeah, because sometimes either
they're marketing material.
Cheesy. I mean, I'm not a marketing person, and I actually use ChatGPT sometimes to do the posts, like the one that you see on LinkedIn. They're just like, this is so creative. I mean, I could have never came up with something like, hey, we have a job, join us. So for things that are gonna make your life easier, speed up your job and not keeping you suffering in the corner because you're really gonna come with something creative. Yes, definitely use it, but I will be cautious because it happened right now with the performance reviews. People using ChatGPT way too much, and you actually
for what? What are they using? Like
for the reviews, for like writing.
Okay, really, yeah.
And you're like, well, I feel like back in the days you were using Wikipedia. Now it's like maybe just do a bit more on your side, or at least making sure that I don't realize that you're using ChatGPT for the answers.
So you could go into ChatGPT and just say like, these are the questions in my performance review, answer them for me.
Yeah, you can. Yes. They will ask you for some examples. It's like the cover letter. It's so obvious. Sometimes the cover letter was written by ChatGPT, and also because the American English is there.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in Europe it's okay, but not in UK. So like, just change it to the British style. That makes a big difference.
I think that's the main thing I think in generative AI is use it as a draft or use it as a source, but then go through that and make sure that
it sounds like you.
Sounds like you, yeah.
Yeah.
It's from you, right?
But I think you can change, right? You can change the settings.
You
can manipulate. So you can say like the tonality
make it less
that
formal.
you want. Yeah.
But then sometimes it goes way too informal. I don't remember that episode from Friends when Chandler and Monica were asking Joey for a letter for the adoption agency, and he started to use, and at the end it was something completely random. So yeah, sometimes it feels like that.
We call his heart his aortic pump.
Aortic?
Yeah.
He's a thesaurus for every word.
He signed it off baby kangaroo
Triviani.
That's it, Joey.
get interested. Where do you think it could best be used? So, for me, I think, I don't know, is Screen Loop or the other one, I can't remember. Is that AI that, you know, like it, if you're on a screening call, it will write all of the notes up for you. Is that AI or is that? I don't know. Is that AI?
It's part of. I mean, I would say because it's the software. But
it means that recruiters can focus on the person and not worry about having to type the notes and be disengaged from the conversation.
Yeah, but again, I think treat that with caution, right? Make sure that the scribe and the notes are reflective of the actual conversation.
Because then that can be even used for the scorecard.
Yeah. But then again, automatically fills in the scorecard.
Yeah, but then again, like, well, what if actually I like that answer and the company and the system flags that maybe that's a red flag. So it is a still touch and go. I tested one of those. I'm not gonna say the brand, but a couple of years ago, it was horrible. It was just first of all, I mean, the company was just offering in English. They were misspelling our name, and the candidates were not getting the right answers, the right questions. Sorry. It was really messy. At one point, we just ghosted each other. I think they just gave up on us. It was a trial. Yes, it was a startup as well, but it was really not a good experience. We do mass volume recruitment for the warehouses, and the idea was to obviously free time from the recruiters doing the first screening with that system and just asking a few questions. It was so bad. I mean, no.
I've seen some. I don't know whether it's just, you know, the technology's come a long way in the last couple of years, but I've seen some really cool versions of that now, where actually there's a, you know, they're on Google Meet, there's a person, they're asking questions, and it's completely AI. So there may be something to revisit there, maybe.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, like I said, that was a couple of years ago, and I mean, they're still there, so I'm assuming they have improved.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something that we will definitely need to look into. You know, providing budgets now, but yes, I mean, it's something that I will definitely love to go for, especially when you have 700 positions per year that you need to go through all these candidates. So if the first screening could be, you know, done automatically, and especially positions like warehouses roles that a lot of things are just ticking boxes as a first approach. Like, do you like the salary? Do you like the working hours? Location? Do you have a driving license? Yes? Okay, well then let's talk to someone.
They're just tick boxes, right? It's not a conversation, a discussion. You're not needing to sell anything.
Yeah.
So I think for me, we won't ever get. I don't think AI is ever going to replace a recruiter, but more make them more effective, more productive, give them more tools to be able to spend. Like, recruiters are essentially, you know, it's a people business. And when you remove some of those administrative tasks, people can spend more time on the people, creating better candidate experiences and better processes. So I think that's where really I see AI developing most.
100%. And I think, again, let's treat it as a tool and just mixing the topics here a bit, but like the new generations, they have so many tools that maybe we didn't have. Like, I mean, in 5 seconds, someone from the team can build a deck, show the statistics from last year, and it's just gonna look super flashy and be like, oh wow, this is amazing. Whereas back in the days, well, where do I get this? Okay, let me do the math on Excel.
A bit of word art on the front of the
like spend 5 minutes of choosing the font, like, and then the color. But I mean, again, they have so many tools that maybe previous generations didn't have, and that's also why they can, you know, aim for more.
Yeah, fair. I think that's. What about Ben? Let's talk about AI in marketing.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, we've talked about AI in talent acquisition a lot. How do you think you know, AI is going to impact the world of employer brand marketing?
I think in the main, there's a lot of really pissed off, well-trained creatives out there that have spent a long time really honing their craft and understanding, like we said at the start, the constructs of design and how it should be laid out and the benefits of negative space and all these amazing things that is technical design. And then you can jump on, now a complete layman can jump on a system like Canva, for example, and ask it to generate a propose a document for XYZ company, and it can do it for you. You can put in some brand elements and say some colours and some fonts, and
it will build it all for you.
Build it for you. I still don't think that it's a little way away from completely replacing the real artistic nature of really good designers and really good creatives, and how somebody well trained can interpret a brief properly, and in a face-to-face meeting can understand what you would want from a brief or a piece of creative or a piece of artwork. Whereas in with the kind of AI stuff, it's very much paint by numbers. You get out what you put in. But yeah, I think that marketing and the creative industries are the same as any other industry.
And then also ghostwriters, right? Like, they're gonna, you know, because people that just write content,
again,
they're going to be competing with the likes of.
I think probably for them it's a bit more challenging because it is easier for AI to write the content.
Yeah.
Because there was this exercise where they actually asked AI to build some logos or something for, you know, very well-known brands. It was so random, and they were like, okay, well, we're clearly not there yet. So I will say, yeah, they still need that human side, that
oversight.
Yeah, that okay, well, we are using common sense rather than just, well, he told me he wanted black and that's it. But like, which type of black? I mean, like, which one is gonna be like red as Cersei or like just Barbie style? I mean,
yeah.
So I think it's definitely another, but it's a good tool. Again, we were trying to do as more employer branding the last year, and we were using some of the other providers, and we got very interesting tools. Like, for example, adding interviews from the employees in the careers page according to what the person's which career section they were looking at. So it's just adding things to what we already have on the platform.
Yeah.
Like, for example, translating a video into all these languages, because again, you need to attract people in all these 12 countries, not just UK. And it's just easier to do all of those things in 2 seconds with these tools.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Very true. Thanks for joining us, Patricia.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
We've had some great conversation.
Absolutely.
Some really good topics. And we've figured out AI, basically. Completed it. Don't fucking use it. Waste of time. Just crack on sourcing. Thanks for listening, and see you back here next time.